Folks, we are back. Welcome back here this Monday afternoon. June 16th is still the day. Great to have all of us back inside our live trading room. Tim just a moment ago who called out this CRML. Nice little push here. Great to see Bill. I saw from before Kathleen, later Roberto, Anna, all of our students and members alike back inside our live trading room. Great to see you back there. All of us back on social media, though. Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, the works. Almost tripping over my tongue there. There we go. I just did. Right down below, at Cyber Trading You just is the handle. If you're on social, if you're on YouTube, right down below, hit the red subscribe button. But I'll tell you what, we've had this nice trade here. Tim just called it out, as I'd said, CRML moving. And, why is this a good trade? Well, it's at the highs. That's a good reason. It's up 46%. That's also a good reason. Let me ask us here, especially Tim, who shouted this out. He knows, but Bill, Michael, Margaret, John, Ron, Kathleen, etc. What's the spread right now? If we're looking at level 3, obviously, here it is. We're going to go over that a lot more in our class later on this afternoon. But what's the spread right now as I'm talking? As this is moving, as we're talking, what's the spread? Penny, right, Bill? Margaret? Yeah, it's about 1 cent, maybe at most 2 cents might open up, but otherwise, it's a consistently tight 1 penny spread. Oh, there's two. There's two. All right, 1 to 2 cent spread. That's fine. But this has good orders across the board. On the bid here, 288, about 20,000 share bid. On the ask at 304, but also at 310. A couple larger orders on the ask that should represent resistance. So, going into the close, great call from Tim. I'll put this on our watch list to begin, at least here, the CRML, and hopefully there's more to it. If it dumps down here right from this meeting, rejects bad and tanks, so we might scrap it. But it's a good one definitely to start with here this afternoon. Now, hopefully this can remain a good trade here. The SRM we had called out, traded, had on our watch list early on this morning. What we'll do is just go right from top to bottom right now. For any of our students joining me in class later on today at 3 o'clock Eastern, you got the phase 1 course. So want to make sure that all of our students are prepped up for that class. You have enough time to click the link, join. Got to make sure I'm prepped up, good to go myself. So let's go right from top to bottom here. But this SRM we did call out earlier. We covered this trade pretty much from head to toe in our workshop just earlier today. Breakout of resistance here, pretty much off 620. You could say the highs here at the time, like 640-ish, broke out pretty well. Now, here's the key. You got to see this try and retain support where it was building support earlier across the late morning, the very early onsets of the afternoon, and it's trying to right now. Just before we had made that call out, if this stock, SRM, wants to make another move, you got to look to try and see it flip over 890. Once again, I wrote that at 2:13 Eastern time, just flashing that pop-up right there in the trading room. So hopefully it continues to hold support right now. If it just crashes as we go through this meeting, I'll just move on from it. But if you want me to put it on our list to begin, I will. All right, we are not putting this on our watch list. We're going to move on from this here, RGC. Pop drop stock, we've seen that before. Listen, the reason why we want to move on from it so quickly isn't even just the order book and the spread, which that was bad, but it's the direction, it's the lack of uptrend here, and same with this DWSN. The whole morning after this one pop, lower high, lower high, lower high, just the whole day. So in certain trades, you just look at like, not going to watch it, not going to trade it. The Sun M was a good move earlier today, but that's done now at this point. BATL had one little push here early in the morning, but again, essentially a lower high from earlier across the pre-market. Now, this is not making lower highs. This has been, at least making higher lows. It's trying to bust a clean higher high of recent. Got too many lines on this chart. 1 second. But yeah, for right now, SBET's holding up a little bit better compared to some of the others so far. Listen, the spread could open up pretty quickly, very fast. Right now it's on about like a 5-cent spread, excluding one share here. Yeah, right now just dropped down a little bit, 4-cent, 5-cent spread. Be careful on it. I'll put it on our list for right now. Again, another stock, if we come back to by the end of this meeting and this thing's like in the crapper, this thing's tanking, we'll just move on to something else. Look at this, STAK stack from earlier today. As if you thought this wouldn't go any lower. Look what just happened right now. So yeah, it's just not worth it if it's not moving upward at all. MULN, nice to see this back up here. I did see this on my gainers list just a little bit earlier. It was like kind of, it had to have been as it dragged down here at this point. So I guess where I left off with it myself, I guess it bounced back up pretty well. Yeah, I'll put this back on our list for the time being, showing strength here, pushing back up towards the HOD. You got to assume resistance would be right off that high, if not basically at $3. $3 whole number. OP. You're dead right now. This thing's dead in the water. It's a buyout. You'll know pretty quick if something's worth their time or not. You'll know pretty quick right away. This is at the high of the day, looking as good as anything that we've seen so far. So I'll add TMC. That's going back on our list. We were talking about this just yesterday, weren't we? When this was, or maybe we were talking about this morning. I think it had to have been this morning, just earlier today. Geez, you lose track of your days, weeks, months, let alone hours here. So this is actually from this morning because we were talking about the break above the high back from late May. So that was earlier this morning and been doing well since. So yeah, nice trade here once more on TMC. Beautiful move. All right, another beautiful move. QUBT, no brainer. Goes on our list here. Probably I'll shuffle that back to the top of our list. But QUBT, a stock that we've grown to trust. We're very familiar with it. It's contained a very good spread, even with it skyrocketing up right now. So that's exactly what you want to focus on. UMAC was doing pretty good just before. Thin book, but now it's the move down that's kind of driving me away from it here. AMDL, so AMD had a pretty good morning, I guess, right? Wow, yeah, it's up over 9% here, AMD. Wow, is there any news out on AMD right now? Had a good morning today, at least NVIDIA, a bunch of trades in the semiconductor, sector industry had a good pop at some point today, but damn, AMD was good. Piper Sandler maintained an overweight rating of the stock, raised its price target from 125 up to 140. That does it. That's a pretty heavy, rating there. At least, I don't trust these ratings in terms of just jump in now and assume it's going to go up to 140. But it's a more well-known firm. It's a higher price target. Thankfully, it reacted well earlier today, reversed a little bit after reversal time, or at least topped off a little bit after that. It's holding up pretty well for right now, higher lows still. If you want me to come back to the AMD trade by the end of this meeting, I don't mind doing that. I just want to see if there's better, cheaper, making higher lows still. So this URGN trade, yeah, from Friday, pop and drop on Friday, moving back up to set highs now. So I definitely want to focus on this URGN. Nice trade there. The buyout. That's a lower high at least. Either way, we'll move on from that. Coinbase going up pretty nicely here. So Coin, and then you got the cheaper alternative to that, CONL. You got CONY, but that's like a dividend swing play. That's a long term, not a day trade. But just otherwise, Coin up big today. IBIT's hanging in there. It's doing a good job today so far. But, Coinbase doing pretty nice. I'll add Coinbase. I'll add that ETF there. MicroStrategy clearly not doing as well. That's on the way down. So not all the cryptos are doing pretty good today. Kind of just really the Coinbase. Circle, speaking of, that's a lower high too. UAVS getting back to some of the drone stocks that we talked about. Yeah, check this out really quick. Food for thought. I didn't have enough time in Traders Talk to show this, but this is a quick little list of like all the drone stocks that you could like focus on over time. This guy sorted them out by subsector. They'll pop up on our list when they're trading enough volume too. So like, of course, RCAT, we're very familiar with. Lockheed Martin, more well-known, more expensive. Archer and Jobby, which we're familiar with. But here's this UAVS. So Ag Eagle UAVS, agriculture, stock that has to do with drones. It's going up a little bit here today. Not a good swing trade yet. You do want to see it confirm a higher high here, and then to have new support build. But there's a chance. There's a good chance of this to try and make a better push over time. I'll add it if you want me to. All right, let's see what else we got here, folks. Damn, I don't want to build up too big of a watch list here, but you got other trades here. SYM is holding up pretty nice. AAOI, yeah, it's done. Nuclear trades, SMR, OKLO. Those have been great swing trades for us and continue to be. Chegg, a little slow, not really doing much right now. Roku, I'm sure this could be a good swing trade in due time. Has been kind of chopping around a bit here, but hey, as long as it's showing higher lows of recent, then there is a chance for a better move on the swing. But for right now, we'll see if there's anything better as a day trade. Coles, actually, that looked pretty good. We'll jump back to that if we need to at the end. You have the Soon trade, SOUN, AI stock. Lower high, it's like doing all right here. We've seen it trade better. UEC uranium trade today. I thought there was a better, case for uranium to move up higher after the market opened. We knew that that wasn't going to happen pretty quickly. So these trades are not doing it here for us now. ASTS going back up a little bit, not enough. SOX L ETF for the chip stocks like AMD we had just mentioned. All right, so the Coles trade I like, KSS. I'll put this on our list here for right now. And I'll tell you, I mean, we can kind of call it as is. We don't need to build up too big of a watch list right now. Markets have been doing pretty good. Got a bunch of name brand companies on here, some other trades that could be some more volatile pops for us into the close. This was the least surprising news of the day, though. I know Rich posted this earlier in the morning for this RBNE stock. They basically did a direct offering of shares, but for as much as this stock ran up just the other day, you figure this thing was done. So, that news oftentimes comes out. It could be the next day, it could be same day. You can't time it. So this happened pretty much right at 9 o'clock in the morning. Rest in peace. Pretty much that's it. We're probably not going to trade this stock again. SRPT, well, I'll tell you what, I didn't think that we'd see this stock back around the 20s after a certain point in time. I remember this from like 2016, 2017 days here. This was a good biotherapeutic stock, whatever. Ran up, of course, as you could see very well. Fell out of our price range after a point in time. I don't know what the hell happened to this stock this year so far, but clearly not good things. And they're down 43% today. So let's just check the news for this morning, why it's down right now. So the company suspended shipment on their drug. They suspended a trial following a second fatal liver failure. That's not good for anyone with Duchenne disease, patients with Duchenne. So big overnight gap. Was a good short actually early on today. That's why we focus on these trades as shorts. You might think it's down enough to look for a bounce, but focus on the trend here. Lower highs, it dropped off right away. Right now for this afternoon, a little flat here for our liking. So we'll come back to this maybe tomorrow, maybe later this week we will. Got the inverse ETFs, down with the market up right now. So not going to really focus on those as much. All right, I'll tell you, I think that's pretty much it, folks. The loser side didn't really show too much. So if there's anything up, down, left, right, more than 5% you want me to look at here, just let me know. Clarence, is it too early to focus on AIRO? Is that one of the drones? Is that on that list there, perhaps, that I briefly showed? AIRO. It's up 32% though today. Oh, it's an IPO. That's why. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. So new company or new IPO. I'm not familiar with what this company is, who they are, what they do. Let's say you are. Let's say you know who they are, what the company's about. You may have been waiting for the IPO. That was on Friday, right? So here's day number 2. It's just not a good trade to look at right now. And here's why. There's two main reasons, right? So we just came off our phase 1 class just from earlier today, right, Clarence? And we talked a lot about the first part here, the order book. You got like a 30-cent spread, 27-cent spread. I'm not kidding. That's a 27-cent spread. That's huge. So you need something with more orders out there on the book. That goes for so many different stocks. I can go through a litany of other trades and say the same thing about. So the order book is a huge talking point. We just talked about that in the beginning of our morning today, our morning class. We'll talk about that later on coming up. But also just trend. You know what I mean? Just trend. This thing's just lackluster here. I know that we did very well on the Circle IPO from last week. So we take it day by day. These are not like swing trades we're trying to like have good trust in because we don't have any trust in them whatsoever. They're day trades. So at least from Friday, this stock made a good pop. We were able to ride it out. But until it starts proving itself to us, there's just easier stocks to focus on. That's all. That's all. All right, here, quick, folks. Let me just check out social media right now. Lewis, great to see you here on the YouTubes today. There you go. It's probably better if I just block my face out with Lewis's comment right there. Probably make it a little bit easier for everyone to see the screen, right? Don't have to deal with my face. No, but great to see you, Lewis, joining us on YouTube today, as well as Facebook Live, LinkedIn, etc. All of our socials, at least there. Folks, last call. Anything else looking good? Just you let me know. I like what we got. It's not a bad list. It's a good list, and it's not tiny. So got enough to work with here all together. Anything that I'm missing that's like popping right now? SRM, that's hanging in there. This is trying to go up a little bit. SOGP. I don't think I looked at this just yet. It's trying, right? Order book, little suspect, pretty thin on the bid. That could open up a lot just coming up here. Let's see. What else we got? Anything looking better? I feel like this is the more well-known company, at least if we're comparing the two. UMAC, I think, is Trump affiliated, if I'm not mistaken. So this is trying to make a move here. If I were to add one more, I'll add the UMAC, and I'll just do it here, folks. All right. All right. No problem at all, Clarence. Look forward to having you in our classes in due time for any of our bronze level students and above. If you got phase one, I'm pretty much just looking forward to seeing you in class in just a bit. We got class coming up in about 20 or so minutes at 3:05 Eastern time. We'll continue. Rich will be in here tagging me out for the afternoon. So for any of our non-students, we definitely encourage you to discuss with your education advisor more about our curriculum, more about our program here. So again, I always like to show this as we're in class week, but we're continuing our curriculum later on today, class number 10. This looks like a lot, but quite frankly, it isn't. Just got to know how our curriculum operates. We do a rotating course schedule. It's not the same redundant 4 classes every single month. I think there's a little bit more to trading than just that. So at least we started our most recent cycle back in April, May. Here we are in June, and this is class number 10 lined up this afternoon at 3:05 Eastern time. We're going to be talking all about level 3, the NASDAQ book viewer, talk about the TradeStation Matrix even from my platform. Let me ask actually really quick before I jump off. Anyone here using Interactive Brokers? Anyone here right now on Interactive Brokers, IB? Laureen, Farzad, inside our live trading room, Clarence, Kevin, a number of us, right? They're an incredible platform. They have a quote unquote level 3 built into their platform here. And I'll go over that with you coming up in our next live class at top of the hour here, 3:05 Eastern. So looking forward to it. And again, if you're not joining us in class, best of luck trading. If you're on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc., at Cyber Trading U right down below, hit the follow, hit the subscribe button. We'll be back on right here for you tomorrow morning here.